Hi, my name's John McCague. I'm a licensed real estate representative with Lepage RCR in Alliston. I'm putting together a series of short videos on different topics that are most common and commonly asked questions that I receive. Hopefully they will you'll find them useful, and they may cause you to think of new questions, and feel free to contact me. I'll leave you the contact information at the end. So this video is about conservation and environmental. It'll talk about the green belt, which includes the white belt. It will talk about Oakridge's Moraine, NVCA, which is Nottawasaga Valley Conservation, NEC, which is the Niagara Escarpment Conservation, and Lake Simcoe Conservation. So throughout the area, I cover the area of Simcoe County, York, Peel, and Dufferin. So in those areas, the conservation that's most frequently talked about is the green belt, which is the watershed for the GTA, the Toronto area, and that is a restriction on development. So a lot of people want to know, if they're purchasing something, is it within the green belt or is it out of the green belt? And what they don't realize sometimes is that it can be within the green belt, but it could be considered white belt. And what white belt is that white belt is less restrictive than green belt. Green belt is that there will be no further development ever on those properties. Whereas with white belt, it's as of right now, there's no further development. However, it could be addressed by the government in the future and the conservation in the future, that it would open up and allow for development on those lands. So it's important to know, do you have green belt or do you have white belt? Oakridge's Moraine, again, that's the watershed for Toronto. And what you want to know is it is your property on the Oakridge's Moraine. If it's on the Oakridge's Moraine, again, restricted development. NVCA, which is Nottawasaga Valley Conservation, they're based out of just outside of Angus, in between Angus and Barrie. They're excellent to work with, but what you need to know is your property covered under NVCA or not. If it is under NVCA, doesn't necessarily mean all of your property, but some of your property may be NVCA. If it is NVCA, what you want to know is, where's the building envelope? So where are you actually allowed to build, that it doesn't impact NVCA? If it does involve NVCA and you do want to do some work in that area that is protected, you should give them a call, have a representative come out. Chances are what they're going to want is they're going to want a sketch or a proposal of what you're planning on doing in that area, and then they'll come out and they'll tell you what's possible and what isn't possible. Same with Niagara Escarpment. Niagara Escarpment covers more Dufferin County and Peel as well. But there is some overlap. There is some NVCA and NEC, which is Niagara Escarpment, on the same property, similar to Lake Simcoe. So Lake Simcoe, that covers properties that are in the Lake Simcoe Basin, which would include parts of Simcoe County, but also York and East Gwillimbury. So you need to know what your property, what's protected and what isn't, and who you need to talk to. Does it hurt value? It only hurts value if a large portion of the property is affected, or if it impacts what you actually need the property for. So if you were buying 100 acres and you needed all 100 acres and you found out that 25 of those 100 are actually protected, that would impact the price. So does it impact the price? Maybe slightly, but what you're finding is that today more and more properties are being pulled into conservation. So you need to know the property that you're purchasing, or even the property that you currently own. Is there conservation on it? The best thing to do is to either contact your real estate agent or to contact conservation directly. I know there is a website, but it's probably easier just to talk to conservation directly, and they can give you the information, or they can direct you in the direction that you need to go in order to get that information. It's good to know what affects your property. So if a property is affected by conservation or environmental, what you want to do is you want to make sure that if you're purchasing the property or even selling it, you want to make sure that that is included as part of the offer to purchase. You want to protect yourself. You want to make sure that the buyer or the seller is aware that there is conservation on the property, how much is conservation, and you'll both sign it, you'll both be aware, and to make it a binding offer, both parties have to acknowledge that they're aware of that. So that would form a agreement of purchase, and if it's not addressed by your real estate agent, it should be addressed by your lawyer. Your lawyer will probably pick up on that if it isn't addressed already. And to do with commercial properties and industrial properties, sometimes they'll require a phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3. Those are to do with spillage. So depending on what a property has been used for, if it was an old gas station, or if there was a repair shop, or if there was a fertilizer plant or something like that, you want to find out if the ground has been contaminated. And so what they'll do is they'll do a series of tests. So the first phase is that they do a phase 1. That's a preliminary one. It's not terribly expensive, but they'll just check to see if there was contamination. And then the phase 2 and the phase 3 are a little bit more in depth, take a lot longer to do, especially the phase 3, and they're a lot more expensive, but usually it's on a very complex property. Say if it was a gas station and there had been a bad spill, that's when you get into the phase 3. So I'm not going to get into that too much more than that right now. It's fairly complex, but if you do have questions on those, please feel free to give me a call. But feel free to give me a call on any topic regarding conservation and environment, or any other topic that you can think of that's real estate related. I love to talk about real estate, and I have a pretty good knowledge of these topics to do with rural, industrial, commercial properties. So the way you can contact me, you can come into my office. I'm at 7 Victoria Street West in Alliston, or you can contact me, my Toronto line 1-866-772-5368, my local 705-435-3000, or my cell 705-791-2221. My name is John McCague. I'm with Lepage RCR in Alliston, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much for your time.